What do you call a group of people that dress in specific uniforms, hate the government in a time of economic and political turmoil, bully and beat down anyone who opposes them, and wishes to establish a radical, ineffective, overly strict government that harms a large majority of people, especially those in a targeted group, that if the radical group's preferred government is established, will only be further segregated if not executed in future? Why? Those are the Nazis, of course. And what do we know about Nazis? They're evil, they probably hate you probably wouldn't fit in their dystopian society, and they make for some great material and occasionally hilarious, if not entirely unoriginal, dark humor. In addition, they're typically brought up in comparison to someone that the majority of people can often relate to being evil incarnate, or at least a massive fucking cunt. Wouldn't you say it's ironic then that an organization created solely to defy the original basis of Nazism, aka nationalist socialism, and all of the aforementioned evils has now developed into a never-ending dumpster fire hell-bent on implementing the opposing end of radicalist socialism, if not anarchism, and uses violent means, threats, domestic terrorism, media control, and hatred of targeted groups of individuals to accrue the attention of the people, while simultaneously playing the victim in an attempt to overtake a functioning established government and usher in a dystopian yet draconian form of government, if any government at all, that would beyond obviously destroy modern society and be unable to repair it in any way, shape, or form. In comes Antifa, the mid-tantrum poster child for hypocrisy and manipulation, a group that consistently echoes its favorite mottos: if you're not with us, you're a fucking Nazi, the enemy of your enemy is your friend, and that's us, and if you're not with us, you're a fucking Nazi, and we're the good guys simply because we oppose Nazism, so join us or you're a fucking Nazi. Antifa is well known for its communist values and generous communal acts, such as beating your local neighbor's head in with a bike lock, setting the local mom and pop store on fire, stealing TVs, brawling with police, and inciting violence in the streets of the United States and some other countries' most densely populated cities for shits and giggles. The group itself is comprised of poor, degraded teenage children who don't know better, and upper middle class and sometimes rich teenage children masquerading around as poor, degraded teenage children who definitely know better. Radicalized communists, anarchists, socialists, arsonists, and anyone looking for an excuse to dress in black and beat the shit out of people. By this point, the United States variant of Antifa, and likely its European counterparts, have just become loosely organized crime syndicates, with the less developed branches setting up petty public brawls with sometimes neo-Nazis, sometimes mediocre conservative nitwit rednecks and 4chan neckbeards that aren't actually neckbeards and unironically post on /fit and /k. When it comes to organization, Antifa is a clusterfuck. The unbearably annoying wannabe fanboy of Anonymous, Antifa is a rarely organized shitfest in which some radicalized self-proclaimed liberal starts a Facebook event inviting mentally deficient cronies to group together and bully pedestrians or counter-protest, aka bully specific pedestrians they don't like in particular. The more sophisticated branches of Antifa might be more organized, which only makes them more dangerous. While they may be less common due to the fact it requires at least a few brain cells to purchase weapons, plan on implementing genuine anarchy, and avoid arrest, it isn't uncommon for a few of the black-blocking cuntwads to bring fireworks, Molotovs, and attempt anarchy or arson in the midst of an otherwise brainless melee between conservative protesters, Kekastanis, and or riot police. All the while, Antifa somehow avoids the consequence of their actions, minus a good pummeling from some beefed up and drunken hicks, by crying to news media and repeating the same old bullshit slogan, "We're only here to fight Nazis, you can't hate us because that makes you a Nazi, and Nazis are bad guys." Let me just give the full official response these ignorant, hypocritical, fascist twits should always be given until it's the first thing resounding within their thick skulls every time they so much as think of the subject of politics. Nazis are the bad guys. Nazis incite violence. Nazis segregate and bully people into submission. Nazis beg for attention. Nazis control what they can. Nazis fearmonger. And Nazis are the fucking worst. Now, who else does all of the above and is all of the above? That's right. Antifa are Nazis. The anti-fascists are fascists masquerading as not fascists. They're about as well disguised as this guy. And let me tell you, if you're fooled by this facade, you must be the most oblivious fucking twit since the Trojans. In summary, Antifa are Nazis pretending to hate Nazis and looking for an excuse to fight Nazis that aren't their favorite type of Nazi, as well as any poor sap they label as a Nazi because they don't like them. In addition, they manipulate media into portraying them as holy crusaders and their victims as no better than the Nazi Schutzstaffel. They harm communities and the stability and infrastructure of towns and cities, and they themselves are either immense egoist hypocrites or colossal megacunts. I'm not much of a man for conspiracies, but I can say with great certainty that most liberal-oriented media has a circle jerk going with Antifa, and they have lied to you. Maybe not direct lying, but through subtly portraying Antifa, I mean Nazis, as the good guys when they were the ones who incited violence and did the most damage and the most harm to communities. Don't get me wrong, as I've said before, neo-Nazis are the fucking worst and you should not support them and I do not support them. But when the opposition is doing the same exact shit and causing more damage than the idiotic hate-filled bigots carrying tiki torches that follow the law and organize what was a peaceful protest, as far as a protest can be peaceful when it comes to dumbasses that hate a targeted group of individuals for little reason beyond their race, religion, gender, or sexual orientation. Let me ask you this, Antifa. How can you pretend to be better than the Nazis when you cause more destruction, violence, and incite more hatred among individuals than the pathetic and minuscule group of white racist shitbags carrying Walmart brand tiki torches and spouting nonsense? How are you doing good in any way, shape, or form? Quite honestly, I think the greatest irony is that through your immense douchebaggery and complete overwhelming bullying of the American public, you are directly supporting the same Nazis you claim to oppose, simply by being the bigger and greater dick. Why would anyone in their right mind wish to support you? Simply because of you, Antifa, the fucking Nazis look like they're better. And those words should never fit together in the same sentence and context. A Nazi is the bottom of the barrel, the absolute worst. And you have lowered the bar so fucking low you dropped it in the Mariana Trench beyond the point in which even James Cameron couldn't pull it out. Nazis are bad. Antifa are Nazis. It goes without saying that Antifa are bad fucking news because they're fucking Nazis and domestic terrorists. Hate Nazis on your own accord. Being an American means you should be anti-Nazi by default. Having a group labeled Antifa is a hilariously awful facade and a cruel joke of a name meant to fearmonger and encapsulate members into being paranoid communist fuckwits that wish to subjugate the populace that isn't yet or never will be on their side of radicalism. End of discussion.